Hey guys, what's up? It's Daniel with TrailAndMountain.com, and today I'm testing a product from a company called Grip Gear. These guys make camera stabilizers for smartphones, so it's a handheld camera stabilizer for your smartphone, so when you're shooting your video and you're moving around, it keeps everything nice and steady and smooth. Alright, so here it is right here. This is the Grip Gear. They call it the IndieSolo. So I'm going to get it out of the box and I'm going to show you what it comes with and how to set it up, because there is a little bit of calibration required. Okay, so first off, the packaging is absolutely phenomenal and they definitely take pride in what they do. I mean, just very well put together box. Very tough too. This thing is extremely strong, so they definitely didn't slouch on the packaging. So just to throw that out there, I really enjoy the companies actually put the effort into making really nice looking packaging. It gets the customer excited about what they purchased. All right, so here's your little welcome card and your calibration process on how to calibrate all of the counterweights, because this thing has 3 counterweights. All right, so this is it right here. Grip Gear right there on the handle. Pretty cool. And this is the actual mount for your phone. It is spring loaded, so it will hold your phone in place, and it has this nice little notch right here, and that's really going to hold the phone steady. Alright, so first things first, you see these little arrows right here. What you do is you take these and you flip these to the outside, just like that. Now you have all 3, and now you have your camera stabilizer. And granted, there's no weight on here, so it's a little shaky, but that's the idea. Okay, and you can actually turn this thing side to side because it has these little cables on there, and the cables are really going to help steady this thing, especially when you're going around corners and you need to have this thing turned. We're going to set this thing up and I'm going to show you how to calibrate it. I do have the iPhone 6 Plus, so unless you have a super ultralight case on your iPhone 6 Plus, it's not going to work with the IndieSolo. So keep that in mind. So you definitely want to start with the buttons right here on the side, on the left side of your iPhone. Make sure that they're facing upward. Make the screen facing to you, and kind of just pop this thing in here. So you let it sit in its little thing, and what you do is you center this thing as best as possible. And once you have it centered, it's probably going to fall forward like it just did. Okay, so since it folds forward, now what you want to do is very small increments. You want to raise that, because that's going to bring it back to you. And I do mean very small increments. Just a little bit of movement makes a huge difference on these, so they're very sensitive. Okay, so I'm almost there. Just a little more, maybe another 0.5 millimeter. Okay, so we're getting there. A little bit more. And the best way to do it is to kind of just pan it and then look at it sideways, okay? It's still kind of tilting more forward, so I want to bring this one up a little bit more. And now it should be more upright, if you see that. So now that it's upright, it's pretty much done. Like, I can move this thing side to side, and it's going to keep the phone nice and steady. And you could also give a little bit of a twist to your hand here for pan. So if you want to pan it, these little cables are going to pan everything and make it all nice and smooth. And then when you're done with your pan, you kind of just turn back slightly and it'll level itself out. So just something to keep in mind, that when you slide these up, it's definitely going to change the balance of everything. You know, you mess with this one, and now your calibration's way off. So you put these back down, and you steady everything, and now your camera is good. It's not gonna do it, you know, it's not gonna lean on you or anything like that. As long as you're holding it upright, you're good to go, and you can move this thing around, and you can go up and down and side to side and pan. You can do that, whatever you need to do. You know, you want to make little slight movements with this thing though, because if you move this thing fast, it's all over the place. So slight movements makes a huge difference. I mean, you see I'm just barely moving it and I'm panning. So keep in mind also that if you have a smaller iPhone like a 6 or a Galaxy or other kind of phone that's smaller than a 6 Plus, I mean, granted, the bigger the phone, the more weight, obviously. So keep that in mind when you're calibrating this thing. Try to keep all the cases off the phone. This thing is not going anywhere when it's locked into place, so it's not going to slip off on you. But if you have a bigger phone, the calibration process takes a little bit more time, as well as it might push it over the weight limit that it won't calibrate no matter how much you try. Okay, for example, I have the Catalyst waterproof iPhone case for my 6 Plus. It would fit on here barely, but I felt like I was stretching it to the point where it might break, so I took it off. And it was also too heavy. It caused the weight of the phone to be too heavy, and I could not calibrate it no matter how hard I tried. So keep that in mind. I'm sure it's the same with other, heavier duty cases like OtterBox or LifeProof and those kind of things. But if at all possible, take the case off the phone, unless it's like a super thin case. Now, if you're using a smaller phone, like a 6 or a Galaxy or something smaller that's not as big as like an iPhone 6 Plus, you should be fine with the case on it. But, refer to the owner's manual if you run into trouble. So the grip itself is nice foam padded. It feels good in the hand. And, it's obviously branded, which I'm a huge fan of. I love the branding. I mean, here I am just moving this thing around side to side. And it's still pretty good. It's still pretty steady and level, and it works really well. Especially on like a pan. If you're going to pan this thing around, if you do this thing nice and slow, it's going to make some huge differences, and it's going to look really good on camera. But you see, if you move it too fast, what it'll do is it'll dip and then it'll come back. So just keep that in mind when you're moving this thing around. Another thing that's super important to do is to make sure that your phone is centered on the mount, okay? Because if it's off weight, if one side of the phone is heavier than the other, like, the camera is up top, so this side might be a little bit more heavy than this side. So keep that in mind when you're balancing this thing. It takes a little bit of time to get it all set up, but once you do, it's priceless. I will say this, the only thing I wish it had like a little tripod mount in the handle, so you could attach this thing to a pole. So if you're doing higher up shot, you can do that as well. But I understand why they didn't do it. You don't really need it. So I like the way the cable system is set up on this with these little sliders. So when you slide that like that, it's really going to help twist your phone around for pan mode. But you could also calibrate this thing super easy by just a slight movement will twist this thing around. And then you can go back the other way. But as I said, the faster you move this thing, the more shaky it's going to be. So you definitely want to make sure that you, for one, practice with this thing a lot before you actually go do some video shooting that you want to publish. So I'm going to get this thing outside and I'm going to shoot some video, and I'm going to show you the difference of using one of these compared to not using one of these and how much it shakes when you don't use one. Alright, so I'm out here at the playgrounds and I have the grip gear IndieSolo for the iPhone 6 Plus, and I've already calibrated it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the difference of why you should have a camera stabilizer like this for your phone as opposed to not having one. And I'm just doing quick little pans right here. You can do nice little slow pans, but once it's in place, this thing's not going anywhere. Really cool. So I'm going to shoot a little video and I'm going to show you how cool it looks. Okay, so that's my review of the IndieSolo smartphone stabilizer from gripgear.com. Here's their website right here. Definitely check these guys out. If you like my review and found it informative, you want to get one of these for yourself, click on the link down in my description box below and make your purchase. When you do, it helps support my website. Another way you could help support is to click on the support button on my YouTube channel. When you do, you can donate any number of dollars, and what that's going to do is going to allow me to produce better content to give back to you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below in my comment section. I will get back to you as quickly as I can. Also, too, please like, share, and subscribe. Here's the subscribe button right here. Make sure you click on that. This way you stay up to date on the latest gear reviews that I'm working on. So thanks very much for tuning into TrailerMountain.com. Please keep checking back for more gear reviews and other outdoor-related hodgepodge. Take care, guys. Get outdoors.